Welcome back everybody to another episode of Mastering Master Mode. In this episode we start off with two back-to-back achievements, I Am Loot and Like a Boss. I Am Loot is for finding a golden chest underground, and Like a Boss is for finding our first boss summoning item, which just so happens to be a suspicious looking eye, the boss summoner for the Eye of Cthulhu. We then loot another chest which gets us a second suspicious looking eye, and a third chest in quick succession which gives us a vanity set, the mushroom outfit, which is the toad outfit, and that also gives us our third achievement, fashion statement, for equipping vanity in all three vanity slots. We then take our first death of the episode to a skeleton hiding in the pitch black waters. Upon returning home from that death, we start to build up our house just a little bit more when goblins invade. Normally, the goblin invasion is not too hard of an event, and is a requirement for getting the Goblin Tinkerer, who is one of the best NPCs you can have in the game. This is because, once you have the Goblin Tinkerer, you can buy rocket boots, the Tinker's Workshop, and reforge your weapons. No more getting stuck with bad reforges on my weapons. I don't expect too much of a challenge from the goblins. I'm not doing a ton of damage, but as long as I keep my distance and keep chipping away at their health, I shouldn't face too many issues. You can see here what I mean. Once I've cleared out the mage on the right side and keep all of the enemies on my left side, I can just lead them as far away as I want, while still getting in damage by shooting back with the snowball cannon. It works pretty well, but it'll take some time to clear out the whole event this way. I then use a recall potion, and I have no idea why. It might be the worst decision I make for the whole event. I decided to block off one half of my house so that they couldn't keep breaking down the doors. And that way, if I stay on my house in the middle, I should only have to face about half of the goblins at one time, since they'll be coming from both sides. The biggest thing I have to worry about now is the archers and the mages, although occasionally some of the thieves and warriors can jump up on top of my roof as well. I probably should have extended the overhang on my roof to prevent this from happening, but hindsight's 2020. I also try out using the musket, which does a lot more damage, but I have a lot less ammo for it as well. I get knocked off my roof and fall right in between some archers and a warrior. The warrior from the left side keeps pushing me closer and closer to the archers on the right, which makes it really hard to dodge their arrows, leading me to a death. And with that first death, I get put into a loop that seems like it'll never end. I spawn in a huge group of goblins, and my spawn immunity just doesn't last long enough for me to get away. I end up dying over and over this way. After enough of these deaths, I actually end up getting an achievement, Quiet Neighborhood, which is granted for entering a graveyard biome, which spawns when there are enough gravestones on the ground. I try out using the flail, and while this does have some success, you have to get very close to enemies to use it most effectively, which means it's also very dangerous, and not quite as effective against the archers and mages. The spinning attack from the flail does, however, block the mage's projectiles, which is very helpful against them. I also discovered that if you leave the flail on the ground, the goblins will actually just walk into it and take a ton of damage. If I stand in the middle of my house and drop the flail on the ground to the side, the only goblins that can hurt me are the mages, who can shoot through the blocks of the house. I then try to run away to despawn some of the goblins at my house, but I don't go nearly far enough, and when I recall back, I recall straight into a goblin and take yet another death. If you're enjoying watching me struggle in this event, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It really helps our channel out. At this point, I figure I need a new strategy, and I remembered seeing earlier when I was trying to make a bed that I could make white string, which is an ingredient to make a yo-yo. And I know that yo-yos can be super powerful against enemies, since you can push the yo-yo through one block holes and attack from the other side of walls. You also get an achievement, Throwing Lines, for throwing your first yo-yo. The wooden yo-yo is not nearly as effective as I hoped it would be, it can hit an enemy twice before it comes back, and the amount of damage that it does is so minimal that it's not worth using. I struggle with it a little more, thinking it might be worth it if I survive longer, but the mage's projectiles going through the walls proved that wrong. I also end up getting a blood moon in the middle of the event, and I don't know if that increases the spawn rates, but I never once see an actual blood moon enemy. Now sit back, grab some snacks, and enjoy this compilation of me dying over and over and over and over. I end up getting the achievement Bloodbath, which is for surviving your first blood moon, but again, having never seen a blood moon enemy, I feel as though I haven't truly earned that achievement yet. But with all the strategies that I've learned, I'm finally able to take out the rest of the goblins, earning me Goblin Punter for triumphing over a goblin invasion. Not that I feel as though I triumphed over it. I really ended up just stumbling my way through. I also finally get the achievement Hold On Tight for equipping my first grappling hook, and decide maybe I need some better armor, so I craft up some silver chainmail, but don't have enough silver for a full set. I then spend way too long taking out the tombstones to get myself out of this graveyard biome, and finally stop getting swarmed by mobs. With the space that I've cleared, I've also decided to build some houses for some NPCs, including the arms dealer, the zoologist, and the guide. That doesn't end the deaths for the video. While out exploring for more fallen stars to craft mana crystals, I die yet again to a vulture this time. I then do some exploring underground, and while riding this minecart, I remember there is an achievement for defeating an enemy by running it over with a minecart, so I quickly turn around, run over the slime, and get vehicular manslaughter for defeating an enemy by running it over. I then decide it's finally time to get my revenge on this life crystal, as I have a hook now, so I can maneuver much easier underwater. I also decide to go straight for it, that way if I die, I will have the life crystal at least. While I did struggle to get out of the water, I did not end up dying, thankfully. However, just a few moments later, these two ice slimes keep me from getting out of the water, pushing me down into some piranhas who take me out. I decide to explore the corruption on the left side of my world just a little bit more, and while doing that, some Eater of Souls get the better of me. The common theme between the last two deaths being, if you miss with the boomerang, enemies can get behind your defense and take you out easily. So I decided to go instead to the corruption on the right side of my map, where I remembered I had some shadow orbs that I could blow up to get maybe a couple better weapons. I decided this time I'm not going to worry about trying to take out just one of them. I'm going to take out both, and then I'm going to recall home and just let the Eater of Worlds despawn. I am not ready to take out the Eater of Worlds yet. Taking out those shadow orbs though gave me my first mage weapon that I can use, the Vile Thorn, and I love this weapon. It shoots through walls and pierces enemies, and if I had this against the goblins, I feel as though I would have done much better. I also get a Band of Star Power, which increases my maximum mana by 20, giving me just a little bit more damage with the Vile Thorn. And with that, we come to the end of the episode. If you like this video, be sure to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you want more. I'm really having a great time making this series, So be sure to tune in next Monday for the next episode of Mastering Master Mode.